For Criminal Media's Polity, Thabi, Madiba, researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss the ANC's anniversary in a time of crisis. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
You said that you did not expect the ANC anniversary statement to say anything significant. Did that prove correct in your view?
Yes, I think it's proved correct. I don't remember anything in the statement that I need to take notes on and that was different from what had been said before. It was full of cliches. And my point really is not to put down the ANC, because I'm one of those people who used to read the January 8th statement very, very carefully. But what's happened now is there's no politics in the ANC anymore. It's all about who gets what position, who gets what contract, even though Zuma has supposedly gone. So the statement is not, I found it very boring. And I'm not saying that, I'm not wanting to put down, it's a commentary on the type of politics that we have at the moment, which is not got ideas. In the 1980s, you would get people reading that statement and seeing, oh, okay, we think we should, how do we do this where we are, in the schools, in this area, whatever it is. Now, you can't treat this like the 1980s, but you've got to give more direction than saying this is what we've achieved, we'll deliver more on this, deliver more on that. So no, I'm not into predictions, but my prediction was correct.
Mm-hmm. And you suggest that there is no ideology dividing people in the ANC, that factions are not political. Is this not an exaggeration?
Yeah, the word faction is used conventionally to refer to people with different ideological leanings. Not just in South Africa, but especially in European politics and a few others, in times when there's contestation over a welfare state or let's say Brexit. Some are hard Brexit, some are softer Brexit, some are prepared to compromise on some things. So the differences between them are clearly delineated in relation to how they want to break with Europe or whether they want to break with the EU or not. Now, in South Africa, one can't say what Esmagashule stands for. It's supposedly radical economic transformation, but the other side also believes in radical economic transformation, that you've got to transform people's lives, not just by giving them the vote, but by giving them more developmental results, housing, land, a whole lot of other things. Now, those phrases like white monopoly capital, radical economic transformation are just rhetoric, although when they forced through the land dispossession and free education things, Zuma himself just announced free education, they were ways of, they thought they could win support over the people who supported Ramaphosa. However, what they instead did is get Ramaphosa and them to agree to something that they didn't believe was right for the economy, like nationalization of the land, changing the constitution, because the Ramaphosa group and the land group that's advising them has said it's not necessary to change the constitution to have expropriation. So they pressurized, hoping that they would outflank Ramaphosa, but it resulted in Ramaphosa's group being, I don't know if they're the main bearer, but also being bearer of some elements of so-called radical economic transformation. So where it does have substance, as with land, it's not very desirable, because the Constitution does already provide for provisions where under certain circumstances no compensation whatsoever will be provided. So it's not to say there's no ideology, but it's really used as tactical weapons against others.
And what is the significance of evidence emerging that corruption extends beyond the Zuma camp into some of Ramaphosa camp? What does it mean for political stability and the future of the ANC and the country?
See, it's very interesting. Until the Zondo Commission, we thought state capture was the Guptas. Now we are learning it's also to do with Bosasa. And people who've been fingered in Bosasa include leading figures in the ANC, like Mantashe allegedly getting security things, this chap Vincent Smith who's withdrawn. He was quite prominent. I think he chaired the Land Expropriation Commission, things like that. I didn't know him myself from when I was in the ANC, but in recent times he has been fairly prominent. Now, my guess is that there are other people who may be fingered in the Zondo Commission in the future, and they may not all be Zuma people. And what it makes one realize is that in the time of corruption, the boundaries are not exactly consistent with the political support for one or other person. They can overlap. And I think why Gordhan is coming under fire, why Gordhan doesn't get defended when he's attacked by the EFF and so forth, is partly because he is seen as the face of the cleanup of the state-owned enterprises, and many people, not just in the EFF and the Zumaites, but in the Ramaphosa camp, fear that things will come up about them. We got a glimpse of things that were not exactly savory when it was revealed how some of the money of the CR17 campaign was spent on paying for the membership fees of people, transporting them to Nasrec, and then monitoring them, seeing what they're doing, so that you haven't paid for this chap to come down to Nasrec, and then he ends up voting for the other side. So that's tantamount to buying votes, although it's not been proved that there's anything illegal there, but you can get a sense that it was unsavory.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, the ANC has regained Johannesburg and is likely to regain Tshwane and plans to win back Nelson Mandela Bay, where the DA and the UDM have been meeting to keep out the ANC. What is your view on this development?
You see, the ANC is the strongest party in Johannesburg, I think, but it's below 50%. So what they're going to do is wheel and deal and offer this and offer that, and then they may remain in control of Johannesburg. They've got to do the same in Tshwane. And the person who's been made the mayor of Johannesburg has got a lot of allegations against him of wrongdoing. And Johannesburg is in a total mess. I mean, it's been a mess for a long time. The DA didn't improve things. You know, you go down roads and your tires get ruined. The refuse removal works very well in some places, but they neglect others completely. So there's like a breakdown of the services of the Johannesburg Metro. I believe that there was a lot of corruption in Tshwane, also in the DA period, but that's an allegation. So it's not yet over in terms of who takes control, but whoever takes control will again be a minority ruled thing. So it's not, it's a victory which is not, it doesn't reflect popularity outside there. It just reflects the maneuverings that have happened since the last election, which have changed the configuration. It's going to remain unstable. What's happening in Nelson Mandela Bay is the DA was the major party of a coalition. It was removed, and then Bobani from UDM became the mayor, and then he was removed. And now there are talks, the ANC is planning to retake it, but there are talks going on between the UDM and the DA. Between them, I think they make 49 out of 100 or something like that. But so the ANC may not be able to retake it. But I mean, when you look at the type of people you've got in the ANC down there, you've got this chap, I've forgotten his name now, who broke a jug on the head of a DA councillor. He's out of jail on bail for assault. Now, these are not the cream of South African politics. Some of these guys are thugs, and even whoever takes it there is going to be taking it because there's crossing of floors and offering of positions and things like that. So it's not a sign that the ANC is recovering.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about the ANC's anniversary in a time of crisis.